You don't think it was deep and profound as I thought it was?
No, I don't think so. Sorry.
Let me know in the chat if you think that was as
No,
deep
you're
and
banned.
profound. Welcome to On the Couch. My name is Josh.
I'm Jocelyn. You do it different every time. I don't know what to expect.
I know. I'm trying to keep you on your toes. We've been married over 13 years now. We did make it to 13 for those that faithful watchers that were wondering. We did make it to 13 years.
We did.
And so I'm trying to keep you on your toes. I don't want everything to be so predictable. So thanks.
Sorry.
Should we start over? How bad was it?
No, it just was a little bit crazy.
Well, how crazy? Do we
Just
need to
a
start
little
over?
bit. No, it's fine.
Oh, okay. I feel like that's going to be weird on camera, though, that you are grooming my eyebrows.
I just was slightly fixing you. I feel like as a wife, that's my job.
Okay. Audience, why don't you type on the keyboard, let us know. Or
Type on the keyboard.
call in. I was going to say call in, but then I was like, we don't do
Please
live
don't
calls
call
or
us.
anything. You can text us. We're not really callers. We're more
Don't
texters.
do that either.
I mean,
I prefer to be left alone.
considering the people watching are your parents and my dad,
Yes.
and
Those are,
does Kanisha watch yet? Did we confirm that?
I haven't asked
Our
her.
neighbor across the street said she watches. So
Oh, that's
There's
very
another
nice
one.
of her.
there's another one for you. All right. What do we got for producers' notes today? Any producers' notes?
My only note is that if Nafisa Collier does not win MVP this year, I will fully stand on the WNBA being rigged.
Yeah.
I'm already like 75% there with how the finals went last year.
Yes.
And I think that Commissioner Kathy needs to go.
Yeah.
But if she does not win MVP, I would fully support her leaving the WNBA and
Just doing
focusing
Unrivaled?
on Unrivaled only.
Yes.
I would fully support it.
I think Unrivaled's already probably a better league and has higher potential
is.
for sure on what
It
they can
is.
do. I love that they didn't
Well,
try to just
if-
copy the NBA model, but they're like, no, what works for us?
Yes.
And so doing
If the WNBA
one
does
city,
not,
a bunch of games on TV.
yeah, if the WNBA does not come to an agreement with the
CBA.
is it the CBA?
Yeah, collective
Okay.
bargaining agreement.
I think the WNBA could fold. I do not know that they would survive a lockout.
Yeah. I mean,
But that's
again, I think the Unrivaled's a better product.
it is.
Poll question for the audience: who's a worse commissioner? What did you say her name was?
Kathy. I don't know her last name. Her name's
Or
Kathy.
Adam Silver, because he's terrible.
You know what?
I've never liked him.
Here's
He's
the thing:
been,
is they need to have very short
like term
term
limits or something. Yeah.
I think, because you get there, you get all this power,
Yeah.
and you become greedy, and
Yeah.
it becomes all about the money, which is what's happening in the NBA.
Yes.
With all of their multiple streaming services that
Yeah.
you have to use to watch NBA games, which Adam Silver does not care about.
Yeah, they asked him about it,
From his
and
own
he
words.
said, well, fans can watch highlights for free.
Exactly.
Essentially, that was what he said. And I was like, okay, that means you don't care about the fans. Also, highlights are not the same thing as actually watching a game.
No. And
Also, part of the problem with the NBA right now is that they're just a highlight league, and they're like, oh, look at Ja Morant do this dunk. And you're like, okay, who cares if he didn't shoot well and they lost?
yes.
He had a highlight dunk.
Yes.
And it's like,
And the same is going with Miss Kathy with
Yeah.
the WNBA.
they can't afford to do that, though.
No, they can't, but
The
they're
NBA
trying.
can-
They're
yeah.
You can't tell me you're not gonna let the Connecticut Suns sell their team to who they want to sell
Yeah.
it to, and you're gonna step in and say, no, we're gonna buy it and then resell it for more money to place the team in an area where a team has already failed. Why
Yeah.
are you putting 3 new teams in cities when
No, and
they've already
I
failed
don't remember
in some of those places?
which player it was that said what
are
they
we
need to
doing?
do first is allow more players on the bench.
Yes.
And we saw it in the Lynx game. T was in the game because they tried to clear their bench because they were up by so much.
Yes.
And she rolled her ankle. I think she was fine.
Yeah,
Ended
she's
up being not a big deal.
She was wearing high heels the next day. So
Oh, that's right, because she did her whole little thing on. But it was like, you can't have, if you're clearing the bench because of a blowout win, you don't want to have a pretty key player still in the game.
And if you want to focus on expanding your league You need to start by making your games more accessible.
Yes.
To watch.
Yeah, the NFL started doing all this like Prime and YouTube and stuff.
Stupid.
And I hate it because it's not fair to the fans, but if you're the NFL, you can do that because people will pay to watch NFL games. They're king right now.
Yeah.
But WNBA for sure.
No,
and
your
NBA,
games
you
need
can't
to
even
be
do that.
accessible.
If NBA games are hard to watch, people won't watch.
Every single Lynx game on TV somewhere.
Yes, I'm a firm believer, and you should be able to watch your home team.
Yeah.
Every single time. I shouldn't have to have Big Ten Network to watch the Gophers. Shouldn't have to buy a bunch of different things to watch the Timberwolves, the Twins, the Wild. No.
Maybe we need to change the topic of our podcast today because we just
have.
This is not what
what
we're
is
talking
this topic
about.
though? Just
I don't know, but
ranting
this was
about
a long
sports?
rant to start out.
Yeah. Well, I'll put like little chapter markers in the bottom, so if you want to skip past that rant we just had, although telling you now does no good because we just had it. But I don't know. 2 times speed. I watch everything on 2 times speed now.
Yes, it's ruining our brains, but yeah.
Well, that's fine. Okay. As always, we are brought to you by Jocelyn Coan for School Board. If you are in Champlin, Dayton, or Western Coon Rapids, vote for Jocelyn Coan. Also, joshcoan.com. You can get quality, affordable videos there. Check it out, joshcoan.com. And Josh will get you set with some great videos at a fantastic price.
All right, what you got in your notes today?
Today, our topic is going to be identity. And I'm counting on you to make it fun because that's your role.
Oh, yikes. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty feisty. I don't know.
I think it's fun when you're feisty, though.
Oh, well.
Audience?
That's probably good.
Audience, let me know if you also think it's fun when she's feisty.
No, we don't need to know that. We don't even know the answer to that.
No. In the chat, let me, is that how you say it, right? In the chat? Right in the chat?
You definitely don't say right in the chat. Let me know in the chat.
Let me know in the chat what you
There you
think. Is Jocelyn more fun when she's spicy?
You know what? Here's the thing. I don't need to know your opinion.
To be fair, you don't actually look at the chat.
No.
I do. Because I'm the one that
So
uploads it and like maintains the...
Don't tell me. It's fine.
Yeah. Don't tag her in if you comment on Instagram or TikTok.
I don't know. I think I'm ready to do another no social media break.
Already, yeah.
Already.
I mean, I took a little mini one, or at least I've been more selective with what I'm looking at. Because I just want it to be fun. I want social media to be fun.
Well, that's the issue is that I think there's so much of social media that is fun.
Yeah.
And like TikTok specifically.
TikTok should just be fun. Or like positive.
So
uplifting.
many fun things that just silly little videos or like I'll see recipes or different things that I just would not have ever seen or silly little dogs.
You'll see like a weenie dog in a costume.
Yeah.
You'll see some stupid dance trend that is annoying but goofy.
Yeah.
And then you'll see some like political rant about something. And you're like, what? Like this is what I'm here for.
I would bring back dance trends because that's what was really big in like 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And I don't like them. I don't participate.
No, I don't.
Well, I don't post anything on TikTok, but I don't participate.
No.
And I think they're silly and I don't want to watch them. But I would prefer that over the majority of the content that is out there, is my point.
I just saw a post where I think it was on Facebook. I don't know. I'm old. I still use Facebook. And this is a dated reference, so you probably won't even get it.
Oh, boy.
Most of our audience, although if our audience is my parents and your parents,
They'll
they are old
understand.
enough. But there's a Seinfeld episode where the guy
You've made me watch Seinfeld.
There's a guy that's naked on the subway. And he tells Jerry, he's like, I'm not ashamed of my body. And Jerry says, that's the problem. Maybe you should be.
Yeah.
But they had made it like as a meme of like, was like, kids these days, I'm not ashamed of my TikTok dances. And he's like, well, that's the problem. Maybe you should be.
Yes, I do think we need to bring back shame.
Yes. If me and my friends would have done these TikTok dances when I was in high school, we would have got beat up. Or at least made fun of. Like, so TikTok dancing is maybe not the answer, but at least it is more lighthearted,
silly.
I suppose.
You know?
Silly. TikTok should be fun.
Yes.
Make TikTok fun again. Can we make some red hats that say?
No.
So we're talking about identity today. And this is a conversation, a topic that I talk about quite a bit. If you've, heard me preach in youth or at chapels or anything, you've probably heard me talk about this, maybe in other videos. I'm sure we have a lot of people that watch all of my videos on YouTube. So you've heard me talk about this before.
My foot is falling asleep.
This is that great comic relief. Just fantastic. Just trying to pour out my soul
It's just really
to you,
tingly. Sorry.
to the audience.
I'm listening. I'm focused.
But this is a big deal to me.
Yes, it is.
Because I grew up mixed. I'm still mixed, actually. That hasn't changed. But growing up mixed, like,
They
especially...
can probably tell you're pretty dark right now.
Yeah, I suppose well, I was going to say, usually September it starts to fade, but it's been pretty hot here in Minnesota. So, still getting plenty of sun. But growing up mixed, especially in the 90s when it was less common, I don't know what it's like, I guess, growing up mixed in 2025 because...
No, I feel like it's pretty common.
Yeah, it just feels like it's more common. I don't know if that makes it easier. Maybe it does. But I always had to, like... You just wrestle with it a little bit more. You have people that you meet and the first question they ask is, what are you? And I'm like, I'm a human? Like, I'm a person?
Yeah.
Sorry, I think of the Anakin quote when he's a little slave child in Tatooine, and the guy says something about a slave. He's like, I'm a person, and my name is Anakin. I don't know why that just sticks in my head. This little whiny slave kid on Tatooine grew up to be greatest supervillain of all time.
We didn't need to stay on track.
I'm just saying.
No, we need to stay on track. We have been...
I don't even know if that's hot of a take.
Wasted a lot of time on other things.
It's not wasted. It's well
it's
spent.
not.
People are loving this.
Well, I don't care if they do.
Let me know in the chat if you are loving it.
Stop.
Don't let me know if you're not loving it, though, because that's going to hurt my feelings.
I did see we got a hate comment on...
Oh, did we?
Well, it was... Yeah. It was on one of the TikToks that you posted. It was like a clip of it. And they said something about stopping just anybody from creating podcasts.
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
Wow. I didn't know we were big enough to get hate comments.
I know. It's just so easy to scroll past stuff.
Yes.
Like, there's no way we've ever said anything that's worth your time to stop and leave a negative comment. I just don't.
I don't know. I don't comment on anything, though. Like,
no, I don't even
bad.
read comments. I'll read if you comment on ours. I will read it. I do read our comments.
I just don't. But I think my thoughts, and I might say them out loud, but I don't take the time to comment it on anything.
Yeah, I have to be really,
unless I'm like intentionally trying to support somebody, but that's rare.
Not you supporting someone is rare, or just like
me taking the time to comment.
You support people though. You are a supportive person. You support me.
Well, yeah.
I appreciate it. Anyways, fast forward to 2025. I'm still mixed. I have a better grasp on my racial identity, I would say. But I'm currently, I'm not unemployed.
You're not unemployed.
I don't work. I was at a job for 8 of the last 10 years. I do not work that job anymore. And I am pursuing freelance video, joshcoan.com.
You gotta stop saying you're pursuing it. You are doing freelance video.
What do you say? I'm doing freelance video?
Yeah, I'm a freelance videographer.
I'm a freelance videographer, joshcoan.com.
That should be your answer when people ask you.
Okay, well that helps. We don't need this podcast then. I feel great about
You're
it
welcome.
now.
See,
this is why
here to solve all your problems.
You get a supportive
I,
wife
however, am unemployed, so we can talk about it with me if you want.
Yeah, it depends on how honest you want to get. But yes, that idea of when, as an adult, when you meet someone, the first thing they say is usually, "What do you do?" Mm-hmm. And so I have tried to not do that when I meet people or talk to people because I know how difficult it can be because different seasons in my life, I've had better answers to that question or not. I was going to start this episode with, I don't have a quick, easy answer to that question right now, but she just gave me one.
Yes.
So
you do.
But still finding that identity and like, also even that freelance videographer can lead to more questions.
Oh, is that what you're trying to avoid questions?
I mean, sort of. I want to be able to give like a quick, easy answer. What do you do? I'm a plumber. I mean, I don't want that to be the answer.
Then just, I'm a videographer. What?
But then they ask like, oh, what kind of videos do you do? What have you been working on lately?
I think I don't.
Look, I overthink things.
Yeah,
and I think this is one of those things, but I'd rather be prepared for an answer than not. But some of that does come up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the same thing with celiac disease.
Yeah.
I very rarely say, oh, sorry, I can't eat gluten. I have celiac without follow-up questions.
Yes.
And sometimes, most of the time, I don't feel like answering those questions. If you're someone I know you're a friend and you're like genuinely interested. But sometimes it's a lot of work to answer those questions all the time.
You don't have to.
But yeah, you're right. She's good. But so identity is extremely important though. But I think you need to know like what is like your core identity, and then what like hangs on that, what's kind of superficial, what changes in your identity.
Okay, here's the thing.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I do have thoughts.
Yes,
and they're going to
that's
be
good.
kind of opposite of what you just said. Identity is extremely...
From my understanding, that's what makes a good show is when you have different
identity
opinions
is
and
extremely important.
We probably agree too much. So.
And I think you're correct when you say you have to know, like, what is your core identity?
Yeah.
Because what we consider our identity, like, aspects of that can change, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I was a child, now I'm an adult. I am now a wife, but I haven't always been a wife. I'm
Correct.
not a mother, but maybe at some point, I don't know.
Maybe.
And like, you know, so there's things in your life that change.
Yeah.
I think because I think people put too much focus on identity currently in our nation.
Elaborate, please. Tell me more.
Well, I just think that we've taken, well, if we want to really get into it.
Oh, we do. We definitely do.
Well, our identity should be in Christ first and foremost.
Yes.
And a lot of people
What does
don't
that
have
mean?
that. Well, I know you have notes on that. That's not the, hold on. But people don't have that, so they're searching for things with their identity.
Oh, for sure.
Also, we are very self-focused as a nation, so it's very much about like me, who I am.
Yeah.
And we're putting our identity in these like very trivial things,
Yes.
right? So like people will introduce themselves by their their diagnosis, or like their sexual orientation, or even their job. Those are all very trivial things.
Advanced fancification.
Hey,
which I thought about if I would need to come up with a name for my video business first, because I can't say Josh Coan, joshcoan.com. I don't know.
Josh Coan, Coan Videography.
Coan Videography. But I think that would have to be like my official name, though.
Well,
I don't know. Do you think I should start doing that? Comment in the chat if you think I should introduce myself as Josh Coan, Coan Videography, or Coan Media, Coan.
Okay.
We'll work on that.
Yeah, you work on that.
But no, I think we're actually saying similar things. I think we need to just have our proper our identity in proper places, and then be confident in like who we are. Not that I need to like. I would never introduce myself. Hey, I'm Josh Coan. I have a ton of jerseys hanging up. But I don't know. But I do think that's part of my identity.
That you have a ton of jerseys?
It's a small part, but like the fact that I like sports and I collect jerseys, I think is a part of what makes me me.
Okay.
And I think it's a fun part of what makes me me. I don't think it is a, life altering. I weigh my purpose in life on these fun jerseys that I have.
Yeah.
But I'm confident, but I think you need to be comfortable and confident enough in even those things, just so like if somebody says, oh, that jersey is not cool, I don't care. I like it, and so I'm going to wear the jersey. Shoes, obviously, look around the room behind me, you'll see things that I like, that I enjoy.
Yeah.
NASCAR is one. Very few times have I ever told someone that I like NASCAR and they say, oh, that's cool, I like it too. Typically it's, well, that's stupid, or that's boring, or they just drive around in circles, or typically nothing follows and they just keep moving. Or they say, oh, really? You're not a white man from the South and you still like NASCAR? Well, yes, apparently some of us up here in Minnesota still like NASCAR. Not many of us. But I'm saying that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, that's part of my identity. I do not hang like my personality. Well, I don't know. I just feel like there's parts of your personality, your likes and your interests that make up part of your identity.
Yeah.
So you talk about hanging your identity should be found in Christ. So you hang it on that, but off of that hangs all other things, all of these other things that some are superficial and fun, but important to me.
Yeah.
Some are very important, but changing. So I don't put all of my identity in it's an easy one is athletes, like putting their identity in being an athlete.
Yeah.
When you're, especially like I've had conversations with professional athletes because I'm big time. I know a lot of pro athletes. I had one conversation with one former pro athlete one time, but he talked about how difficult it was. He retired early because of injury or early than he wanted to. He said ever since he was a little kid, he was the best football player on every team he's ever been on. And then he played D1, got to the NFL. That was so much of his personality. Mm-hmm. And I bet you if he didn't introduce people as that athlete, I'm sure a lot of people said, oh yeah, you play for the Chargers. Like, it's like the first thing people say or mention or know. You think of like headlines or like social media like post. It'll say like wife of athlete or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I got Tony Gonzalez jersey hanging up. If Tony Gonzalez's kid ever made news for whatever reason, they would say Tony Gonzalez's son.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like they would identify them as that. And for sure, Tony Gonzalez, if he's in the headlines, it's former Chiefs and Falcons tight end Tony Gonzalez did such and such and such. Like that's so much of their identity. So then when you retire, they talk about how difficult it is to like, okay, when you're a professional athlete, you retire at 35 years old, and now you're like, okay, I have all of this life ahead of me.
Yeah.
Who am I? Because I'm not a football player anymore. You might be former, but you're not a football player anymore. But I think it's okay for that to be part of your identity.
I think so too. I just think
gotta be careful
when it comes to trivial things being a part of your identity, I think that's where people get caught up because one, I think we make things our identity that have no business being part of our identity.
Yeah.
So like
example.
If you have if you do have some sort of a diagnosis of some sort, like, okay, it's common with mental health diagnoses, because you don't go around and say, oh yeah, I have celiac.
Yeah, I try not to tell people.
So that's a part of my identity. Like,
because I actually am gluten-free, not just because it's trendy, because people that are gluten-free for trendy tell people all the time.
Yes. But you don't go around telling people that, and you don't make that like who you are, even though it affects your life every single day.
Yeah.
But people who have deal with anxiety or deal with depression or different things like that, they'll put that on themselves and wear that as part of their identity. Like, oh, I have anxiety disorder. I have depression, instead of, no, this is an issue that I deal with, which is, those are very real and true things. Yeah. But you're putting your identity in those things. And I think that and
you're saying things like, well, I'm just an anxious person.
Yeah. But I think that that's a very dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
I also think when it comes to those things, when it comes to sexual orientation and things like that, when you wrap up your entire identity in it and then somebody has a differing opinion, or in political things, if your identity is what you believe politically and then somebody disagrees with you, then you're taking that attack personally, because you're saying, oh no, but this is who I am, I identify with this, and so then you're not able to have a conversation. You think everybody's attacking you and everybody's against you because you've put your identity in these things that your identity has no business being in.
And it doesn't need to be that personal. And one of the things that I saw a conversation a few years ago online with somebody was talking about homosexuality in the church and how the church addresses that and talks about that whenever. We're not going to go into all of that, but one of the things this person said was Christians often don't realize how much of their identity they put into their sexuality. And so when you tell them that's wrong, they take it as you're saying I'm wrong. And again, that's a lot more to try to unpack that we're not going to go into in that. But I do want to, like, when you put your identity in something you do, then it can be hard to separate. Okay, you don't agree with what I do, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm a bad person. Right? And we talked about the same thing with creatives. Sometimes we'll put our personality, we'll put so much of our identity in what we create, whether it be art or like a video. And if I make a video and someone doesn't like it, it's not, they don't like me. It's, they don't like the stylistic choices that I made in it. And so I think that's one thing that I have to look out for as a creative, or other creatives that I've talked to. That's something you have to look out for, because they're not saying if your video, they don't like it. Again, they're not saying they don't like you or there's something wrong with you. They just maybe don't like a stylistic choice that you made. And so you need to, I mean, if they're paying you, you want to try to fix that for them. But yeah, so it's very important on where you put your identity.
Well, yeah, that's why I think it's so
and how much you
dangerous
hang on
to
every
put your
little
identity
thing.
in trivial things. And I think somebody like you, who has thought about identity for a long time because you've always been confronted with it, you have a better grasp on, okay, I do, like, yeah, this is a part of who I am, but if somebody comes against it, or, you know, somebody disagrees with it, okay, that's not gonna make or break me as a human. Like, I'm not gonna take that personally.
Yeah.
But I don't think most people have that.
But
grasp.
that's why I like having these conversations about identity, and I like talking to people about that, because I do think it's such a crucial thing that we all get wrong so much. And it's so important to, again, know what makes up you, your personality, the things you like, you don't like, but then understand what stuff is, this isn't me, this is just something I do, or I like this, and I'm not going to be hurt or offended when you say NASCAR is stupid, but I'm also like not hanging my identity on that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm secure in those things, in my personality, in my, you know, one of the things that I, you know, have had conversations about and thought a lot about is like, what does it mean to be black? All right. We have a friend who, before we knew him, but he went off to college. He's a black man, and kind of like he said, he kind of got lost in that identity of like, oh, if I'm a black man, then I need to like fully be black and get involved in black communities and do things that he didn't really know or believe in, but he did it because as a black man, he thought that's what he was supposed to do. I remember years ago, Kobe Bryant, they had asked him about something about supporting the black community or being a part of the black, something like that. And he's like, we don't all have to think and act in the same way. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I need to like support the black community for whatever cause. I mean, there are things obviously but it's not like black people think differently. I know people that are black that love Black History Month, think it's the greatest thing ever. I know people that are black that hate Black History Month and think it's terrible and we shouldn't do it. And I'm like, look, all black people don't think alike. All white people don't think alike. All sports fans don't think alike. Like,
identity politics is so dangerous and stupid.
Yeah. But you know how hard it is to be a black Republican? Like, people think that if you're black, you got to vote Democrat, whatever. And I'm not here to say that you should vote one way or the other. I'm just saying, regardless of your skin color, your upbringing, your sexual orientation, whatever, like, do the research yourself and find out who you think you should vote for. Right? Like,
well, just in general, I think thinking for yourself is very...
Yes. Well, and again, an identity and that, like...
It's not happening enough these days.
For me, trying to figure out what it means to be half black and to be black, like, Josh Coan in high school and Josh Coan in college were almost two completely different people.
Yeah.
As far as, like, styles, as far as the music that I listened to, the clothes that I wore, because in high school, I was white. I was fitted in with all my mostly white friends at a private school. I went to private school in college too. So, but I went down to ORU and I was like, oh my goodness, there's other black people. Like, this is crazy. But it was just like, so then there was like that. And I was like, oh, I can wear my jeans big. And this is when you would wear like baggy, like oversized dress shirts too. We had to wear dress shirts at ORU. But I was kind of figuring out, trying to get into sneaker culture a little bit. Even though I still didn't have any money, so it wasn't like nice shoes. It was like cool looking shoes that were on sale was kind of my thing. But that idea of what does it mean to be black has always been something in my mind, conversations that I've had. And it's like, okay, well, just because black is the color of your skin, maybe you know your country of origin and there's some heritage or roots with that, but like, black doesn't mean you have to dress a certain way. Doesn't mean you have to listen to certain music. Doesn't mean you have to vote a certain way.
But this is why I think putting your identity and being so stuck in what your identity is and putting your identity in trivial things is so dangerous, because if you hang on to what that is so much, then you do fall into, okay, well, this is what I identify with, whether it be, I'm trying to think of like a non-political answer, but like,
it's
okay,
just what's
this
going
is what
on
my
in the world right now. So I
this
feel
is
like
what my job is. So which isn't a great answer because I'm currently unemployed, but this is what my job is. So I have to think this way because this is everybody who does my job thinks this way and thinks that I have to do things this way.
Dressing, acting a certain way in high school versus college, more than just the color of my skin, it was about fitting in with the people that I was with. You see it a lot more, at least people are more common to talk about like peer pressure when you're younger in high school.
Yeah.
But there's this, one of the greatest things I ever heard is peer pressure. I don't remember the quote, so that's fine. I don't remember who said it either. But it was something like basically like the difference between belonging and fitting in. Mm-hmm. We think that we need to fit in. We need to change ourselves to fit into whatever box our identity is, right? Whether it's black or white or Republican or gay or a Christian, or we have these ideas of what that looks like. And so we try to fit into that. But really to belong, you want to be so uniquely you that you belong, because look, we don't need another Josh Coan in the world. We have one, that's plenty. There might be more. Actually, I think there's a soccer player named Josh Coan, because when I try to find the website, it's a side note.
Soccer player.
But God needs me to be me. He doesn't need me to be like everybody else. In fact, if everybody in the church looked and acted and talked the same way, we'd be a very incomplete body of Christ, because he needs the gifts and talents and personalities that different people have. We talked before about extroverts in the church and how like so much of the church is made up of extroverts.
Yeah.
God made me to be an introvert.
Why do
God
you
needs
think that
introverts
the church
too.
thinks that being introverted is a disease?
That's a great question.
And that there's something wrong with being introverted? I would love to know.
I think if we're going to take a second to unpack that, I think it's because the Great Commission tells us to go into all the world. And so extroverts have taken that to be like, oh, we need to be talking to people all of the time. And every person we meet, we need to tell about Jesus. And if that's you, I'm not saying don't. But I think we miss the part of like living a lifestyle that reflects Christ and impacting people like in your world. Like honestly, like I think it's great if you go and tell strangers about Jesus. Go for it. That's what you feel called to do. But you're going to have a bigger impact on like having actual deep conversations, maybe with your family, your friends, your neighbors, people that you like do life with, actually is going to have a bigger, lasting, longer impact than one person that you told about Jesus who you'll never see again and who knows what their life ends up being after that. I'm not trying to go on like an anti-evangelism thing. I'm just saying like, I think we misunderstand. I think going into the world and I think impacting people
I also think
is more about how God created you to reach people.
Church people think that being extroverted equals being happy.
Yes, that's another thing. Yeah.
Which is not true.
If I'm quiet, that doesn't mean I'm mad. Sometimes I just want to be quiet.
And
sometimes I am mad, but
you can tell the difference usually.
You can. Most people can't though.
Maybe.
Maybe they can.
I think why
don't you let me know in the chat if you can tell the difference between when I'm mad.
You're banned from saying the word chat. No, but I was at a church recently and I walked in the door and 4 different, like there was 2 sets of doors you could go through. And there were 4 different greeters behind those doors, and they all greeted me one after another. And I was so overwhelmed just from that one moment that I was like, I don't know. Yeah. It just was too much. And I was like, what? I would have been just fine if one person would have greeted me. Yeah. Maybe 2. Okay? I get it. You're on both sides of the door that I walk through. If you're at that other door, don't talk to me. What are you doing?
But I've literally heard people like in church and pastors from the stage say essentially like getting healed of their introverted.
I know, that's why I said it.
Like, look, and this is what I'm talking about.
And I'm not even like super introverted. Yeah. I like kind of am on the edge. Yeah. But I'm definitely more extroverted than you are. But I'm kind of like on the edge. So I'm not even like, oh, nobody talked to me. Yeah. But like, it just feels like we're trying too hard.
I think this is where it's like, this is where I really want to have these identity. Yes, it does feel fake. I really want to have these identity conversations centered around like, this is who God made you to be. And I think God made me like sports. I think that's part of my identity. God made me introverted. That's part of who I am. The idea now is why, why did he do that? What did he do with it? Like God created you an introvert and you grew up thinking that this is wrong. There's something wrong with me that I'm introverted. Like that's a terrible way to live. Mm-hmm. Not only is that like terrible for you internally, but then you're never going to use the gift that you have as an introvert to truly do the things that God created you to do, because you're going to think either I'm not going to do anything because being an introvert is bad and I hate myself for it, or God made a mistake and I wasn't supposed to, or you're going to like try to be extroverted and just be miserable all the time. And you're not probably very even good at being introverted. So it's a struggle and it doesn't go well. But instead, if you can focus on, one of the things we talked about is introverts are typically can make a deeper connection, mm-hmm. and typically can see people that extroverts don't see when you work in a room, right? You say hi real quick to everybody, but introverts can kind of make those connections. So this is not an anti-extrovert thing, because I do think that's a big part. If you're an extrovert, God made you that way as well, right? Peter in the Bible was an extrovert, and he's the most annoying person in the Bible. I love Peter. The interns, I have a very love-hate relationship with Peter.
That man stood on what he said. Yeah. And cut a man's ear off.
Yes.
The rest of the disciples just sat there.
Yeah.
And watched it happen. And
that's probably a bad example, because he wasn't supposed to cut his ear off, because Jesus told him not to afterward.
I know,
but in Acts 2, and I just did a video on that, in Acts 2, which will come out later, so keep an eye out for that. But in Acts 2...
Acts 2 will come out later?
No, Acts 2 is already out. That came out thousands of years ago. My video...
Oh, I'm so confused.
My video on Acts 2 will be coming out later.
I thought you were trying to do like a teaser for Acts 2, like it's not...
Yeah. We have Acts 1. Hold on. We'll wait till you see Acts 2. It's crazy. Things get wild in Acts 2. But Peter's the one who steps out of the crowd. So as much as I think he's annoying, he was the one who had the boldness to step out and say, look, so God created him to do that. God used it, the gift that he had.
Yeah.
And I think the same with me. Sports is a very superficial thing.
Yes.
But there are conversations that I can have with people who also like sports, and I can connect with people. Yes. The jerseys that I wear, as stupid and superficial as it is, like I've had conversations start up with people, which sometimes I'm an introvert, so I don't always want to talk to them. But like with the jerseys that I have, I'll be wearing, some more obscure jerseys, and I'll get some comments, and I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way to connect with people.
I remembered my thought from earlier, and I'm actually really disappointed that I didn't say this earlier, because by this point, nobody's probably watching anymore.
Do you want me to edit it back in?
So I'm going to need you to, I'm going
to edit that back in.
Put this in earlier.
If I don't do it as smoothly as I would like to do, then just forgive me, and it'll be fine.
I don't know where this will fit.
You won't even notice, though. I'm going to be so smooth with it. I'm such a good video editor, joshcoan.com.
I think this is a really big point. So that's why I'm disappointed I didn't say it earlier.
Okay.
But I think people's identity is often based on how they feel. And that is what is so dangerous. Because one, feelings are very fickle and they can change in a matter of minutes, but also feelings aren't facts. So
don't say that out loud, babe.
Well, I don't think that's that profound.
I
hope people understand that.
People
need to hear that, but I don't think it's a crazy thing to say.
But this is my feelings.
No,
I don't affirm how I feel.
I mean, I probably lean too much on the other side of like, I don't care about your feelings, because it's just a feeling. But
I do care about your feelings, but feelings still aren't facts.
But feelings are not facts.
Feelings are very subject to change.
And so if I'm feeling anxious one day, that does not mean that's who I am as a person.
Yes.
If I'm feeling... insert whatever non-PC term you want right there.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm feeling, that doesn't change the fact.
Yeah.
And that's why
your identity, can acknowledge someone's feelings.
Yeah, but your identity cannot be based on feelings, because your identity and those core things that are your identity should not change just based off of how you're feeling.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because that's not then an identity. If it's just changing based off of how you feel, cool. I feel like I shouldn't make that joke. That wasn't gonna be very nice.
Okay, that's fine. Well, now we'll cut back to what we were talking about.
But I think that's an important point.
No, that's a very important point. And I think when I talk about identity, for me, it's like being the authentic you that God created you to be, not just the you that you feel at the moment.
And that's where we lose it, right? Because we're telling people,
if they
just
don't
be
believe in
you,
God.
be yourself,
Yes.
da 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 da, and that's BS. What
Yeah.
you actually should be is who God created you to be.
Yes.
And not just you yourself, because I myself am a flawed human being.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna be myself, I'm not gonna be.
I'm not gonna do whatever feels good in the moment.
I'm not gonna be a very nice person.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be. Like.
Look, if I did whatever I felt, I would never drive the speed limit.
Yeah.
Or close to it. I guess I probably don't drive it very much now anyways.
No.
But I would never go anywhere close to the speed limit.
Yeah.
Because I personally don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But
I would eat a lot of baked goods.
yeah. I mean, you could.
Well, there would be consequences, you know?
There are still consequences to your actions. If I drove really fast, it could probably, I mean, I'm a very good driver, so I'd probably be okay. But it's the other drivers out there that are the problem.
Yes, if the road was empty, you'd be fine.
But I'll use the example of like people that are unhappy with the way they look, since you talked about eating a lot of baked goods. Sometimes me eating too many baked goods makes me a little bigger than I would like to be, right? But God has created me a little bit bigger. And I think if you're like so obsessed with, look, you have to, I'm saying this, I'm just such a hypocrite. You diet and exercise.
No, dieting's BS. So
you eat well, you eat healthy, and you exercise to become the best version of you, not to try to be looking like somebody else, but also not to like, oh, I'm bad. I look in the mirror and I don't like myself.
Well, that's the problem is that it's still.
You need a healthy body image and you need to do things to be healthy.
Well, that's the problem is
you have
that
to love
you're
yourself.
Still, yeah, I don't really like the point you're making. I don't think.
What point am I making that you don't like?
Well, I guess maybe I don't like how you're making it because.
So then clarify, so that the people at home.
Well, because if
the 3 people
you're
at
like
home that are watching this,
if you're not happy, which maybe you got there, you just didn't get there quick enough for me. But if you're not happy with who you are or like what you see, first of all, you're still putting your identity in the wrong thing.
yes.
But trying to change yourself to lose weight to have a better body image is not going to actually help your identity.
Yes, that's what I'm saying is you need to be secure enough in who you are.
Well, I guess I don't understand
that while
the
you're
point of what
working
trying to
on
make then.
making yourself better. My point is, because I think we can get so stuck in this is just who I am. And even Christians will even say, this is how God made me. People that are extroverts and maybe mean will say stuff like, well, I'm just a blunt person because that's how God made me.
Yeah, if you say you're
it's
just
like,
a blunt
no,
person, that's just an excuse.
You
to be mean.
have a gift, sure.
I can be blunt. I can
but
be
it
mean.
can be
I know the difference.
But it can be a bad thing. And just because God made me a certain way doesn't mean I can't work on, building up my weaknesses or capitalize on my strength. You still put in the work to become the best version of you. You're just not trying to become somebody else. God isn't looking to make you, isn't trying to say, hey, come be a Christian and then we're all gonna look the same and act the same and talk the same and dress the same. No, you're gonna be yourself, but there is work that we need to do to be the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
I'm just not working hard to be like that person over there. I'm just trying to be the best me. So that's what I talk about, like losing weight. Like I need to be happy with myself regardless of what my number says on the scale or how I think I look in the mirror or how my clothes fit. But that's not going to stop me from trying to eat better and trying to work out because I'm still trying to be the best version of who God created me to be. Is that an accurate statement? Yeah. But I think of examples of like, I don't know about plastic surgery and whatnot, but like Michael Jackson, one of the things that was said is the reason he kept having plastic surgery on his nose is because when he was a kid, his dad used to make fun of him for how big his nose was. So even when he had plastic surgery and his nose got so, it didn't look normal,
breathe out of it.
He still would look in the mirror and say, that's still too big. And you talk about that with eating disorders. People will talk about how they, no matter how skinny they got, they still saw themselves as too fat. And I think that's that unhealthy balance where it's like, no, Michael Jackson, your nose may have been a little bigger than your dad's, That's the way God created you to be. Like that's just how God made you, right? Like if we did a better job, I think, of embracing who God made us to be, then I think the other stuff can fall into place. And then we work on becoming the best version of who we are, not trying to be like anybody else. I don't know. That made sense finally?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Watch it back and see if you think it makes any sense.
I don't think it was like. You have another point?
I mean, I have plenty of points.
You do.
You don't think it was deep and profound as I thought it was?
No, I don't think so. Sorry.
Let me know in the chat if you think that was as
No,
deep
you're
and
banned.
profound. You can't ban me from that. I would just say I think identity is very important. I think having it in its proper place and knowing what is temporary, what is superficial, but being so secure in who you are. When I've preached messages on this before, I've used, Matthew 3 and 4. When Jesus is baptized, he literally, God opens up the heavens and says, "This is my beloved son." He speaks identity over him. It's the last thing recorded in Matthew 3. The first thing recorded in Matthew 4, Jesus in the wilderness to be tempted. The first words we hear are Satan saying to Jesus, "If you are the Son of God."
Yeah.
Like it's not a coincidence that the very thing that the devil attacked was the identity that God spoke over Jesus. And if Jesus needed that spoken over him and he needed his identity secure, and if the devil knew how strong his identity was and tried to take that from him, don't we need that too? Mm-hmm. Don't we need that so much more? We need to be secure in who we are and who God created us to be. Before we go, no, can you just explain what it means to you to find your identity in Christ? Because that's one of those things that as Christians we say a lot, and I heard it a ton growing up, and I don't know how many people ever actually defined it for me. And so one of the things we talked about in our annoying Christians thing is like kind of cliches that we say and don't actually like explain. So what does it mean to you to have your identity in Christ? Because you brought that up.
Well, I think that to me it means I was seeing what your notes said.
So you're just gonna read what my notes say and then take credit?
No. But I think ultimately, this is your first point, but it was also it is my point as well. I'm not just stealing your point.
Okay, that's fine. It's a good point. I'm okay. I'll share my point with you. You don't have to steal it.
Listen, my points were just up here, so yes. I don't have any proof that it was my point. But
yep.
Ultimately, I think to have your identity in Christ, you have to know who Christ is.
Yeah.
Because you can't have your identity in something that you don't know.
Yeah.
I think if you want like practical, like
yes, I do.
What? Okay. If you want like practical, like definitions of what this means, I think you have to look at the Bible and look at what is said.
Smart.
Yeah. Makes sense, huh?
Not just a hat rack.
Although I do wear a lot of hats these days. It's because I need to get my hair cut. But
I
you
wear
have
a lot
to
of
look
hats too,
at what is said about God, because ultimately we were created in his image, right? So if we're created in his image, then that's what our identity, that should be the identity that we're striving for.
Yeah. Yes. I agree, since that was my first point. I have 3 points, and I'll be quick with them.
You already made your third point. You went off script.
I did go off script. But as a reminder, because some people don't always listen, maybe I'm used to preaching to high school teenagers, and they don't always listen, so I have to repeat myself sometimes. I do like to do a nice little recap at the end. Pro tip, if you're looking to do any preaching, any public speaking, wrap up your points at the end so people remember them, because they don't always do that. But created in the image of God, your identity in Christ means first and foremost, you and everyone you meet, it was created in the image of God. Human life is valuable because it was created in the image of God. And we forget that, and we treat others as less than because we forget that they're also created in the image of God. But also be nice to yourself because you were created in the image of God, right? Yeah. And the second point is that if you are a Christian, again, you have to know who Christ is, I think, to understand these, at least believe in him. But if you are a Christian, you're a child of God, created you're a new creation. It doesn't matter what you do, what you've done, your identity is secure in you're a child of God, loved by God, accepted by God. No matter what you do, good or bad, God still loves you. And that's extremely important, because it's easy to put our identity, I had a bad day, so I'm a bad person. Well, no, you had a bad day. We all make mistakes. What do you do from that? When Jesus was baptized and God said, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased," that was before Jesus did a single miracle. And God said, "This is my son, I'm pleased in him." Before he ever turned water into wine, healed any sick people, definitely didn't die on the cross for our sins yet, right? God said he was already proud and pleased with his son. The third thing is who God created you to be. And yes, I did go ahead in my notes. I did talk about that quite a bit, but I think to me it's important. Your personality, your likes, your dislikes, your gifts, your talents. I think a lot of that, so much of that is God given. And I think we don't necessarily give that enough credit. So we say, "Oh, this is dumb that I like this or that I do this." Well, no, there's probably something in there. Talked about sports. Like, I like sports. I used to get frustrated, and I still do sometimes. Like, God, why did you make me love sports so much, but not make me very good at them? Which I guess I could have put in more work maybe and been better at them. But also, like, I've had so many connections and conversations with people through sports and the work I do with Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I love it. And a big part of that is because of the sports and the impact that athletes and athletics has in the world right now. And I can go into those places and enjoy it and speak the language. And so I was never good enough to play at any very high level, but sports my love for sports has been, has been a tool that God has used. Something as superficial as shoes. Like, that's something that I like, shoes. I've been able to connect with a lot of kids in youth group over shoes. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I really try to do as an introvert, I still try to like connect with people, right? That's important. But I always try to like find somebody and compliment people on their shoes, especially in the youth group when I was like trying to connect with different youth and stuff, because they knew how much I liked shoes, and that meant like they were seen when I saw their shoes. And that's a very superficial thing, and you shouldn't care that much about your shoes, and you certainly shouldn't spend money on shoes that you don't have. But if that's something that you're into, like, find a way to use that. Like, I think that's a God-given, and find a way to use that to pursue God's purposes for you in this life.
Yep.
Are you listening? You zoned out a while ago, didn't you?
No, I was listening.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Sometimes
I just feel like we've talked too much. I'm over it.
Okay, well, that's fine. It's long enough. Our three fans
do
are
I
probably...
get my own wrap up? Or
yeah, let me just check my notes here.
Or is your point
anything
the only
else?
We need to wrap up? Might be a lot shorter than yours.
Usually is. All right. I've covered my notes. Any final thoughts, Jocelyn?
Yes, my final thought is remember that your feelings aren't facts. If you take away one thing, that's it.
Okay. Thanks. It's good. It's a good word. And thank you for watching. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Mom.
If you appreciated this, let us know in the chat.
And Father Coan.
And tell your friends. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.